Welcome into Factfinder Investigates. I'm Domangue. This week, the National Transportation Safety Board marking 6 months since the deadly mid-air collision involving Flight 5342 out of Wichita and an Army helicopter by holding a 3-day investigative hearing. That crash killed all 67 people on board, including some from Kansas. Those victims' families in attendance for the hearing, and as you see there, visibly emotional hearing new findings in that investigation. Over 30 hours of testimony and thousands of pages of reports highlighting not just one, but several factors that may have caused that crash. We first begin tonight with a new angle of the collision, showing a closer look as the helicopter flew in the path of the plane that was just moments away from landing.
The flashing lights identify the touchdown zone of runway 33's landing threshold. Flight 5342 is visible in the upper left corner as it approaches runway 33. PAT 25 appears from the left side of the screen, moving to the right as the two aircraft cross flight paths.
Now, the Army helicopter was on a training mission at that time, and a large portion of the hearing focused on why the helicopter flew in the path of the landing plane. During the hearing, the NTSB found the helicopter pilot may have been flying at a different height than they originally believed they were. The NTSB found that the altimeter, which measures the helicopter's altitude, can have a margin of error up to 75 feet. The helicopter was flying along a route that has a 200-foot ceiling, but it was actually flying at around 270 feet. Additionally, the helicopter was flying without working NTSB technology that would send its location to other aircraft. The NTSB also released transcripts showing the air traffic controller in charge that night believed the helicopter would stay clear as the plane prepared to land. Despite confirming visual contact, no warning of the approaching helicopter was issued to Flight 5342.
So were any traffic advisories or safety alerts issued?
No safety alerts.
Should the local controller have let the PSA crew know that there was a helicopter there?
Yes.
Now, investigators did ask the air traffic controller why the plane wasn't advised about the helicopter. His response, "I don't think it would have made the difference, honestly." That night, the controller also said he was overwhelmed 10 to 15 minutes before the crash as he was tasked with monitoring both the planes and helicopters and even debated asking for help. The FAA said ideally the role should be split by 2 different people. But during the hearing, the former operations manager at the airport said this crash didn't just happen on January 29th. It occurred years earlier as recommendations were made to keep that airspace safe, but were not acted upon. The NTSB shared that back in 2022, an air traffic controller working group recommended adding 3 hotspots near Reagan Airport where pilots should use caution if other aircraft are nearby. The FAA did not implement those recommendations. NTSB Chairwoman Jennifer Hamady says the January crash was a situation where that hotspot would have been used, and if it was implemented, could have warned the pilots to change their flight path and avoid that collision.
But what you did is you transferred people out instead of taking ownership over the fact that everybody in FAA in the tower was saying there was a problem. But you guys are pointing out, welp, our bureaucratic process, somebody should have brought it up at some other symposium. Are you kidding me? 67 people are dead. How do you explain that?
Years ago, it was determined that the route the helicopter was on was problematic. Suggestions were made to eliminate a portion of that route or move it entirely, but those suggestions were not made because the path is needed in the event that there's an evacuation of Washington, D.C. Now, back in March, the FAA did permanently close a portion of it, but only after that mid-air collision occurred. Now, this week, Kansas Senators Jerry Moran and Roger Marshall helped introduce a bill that aims to improve flight safety. The new legislation will require all aircraft to be equipped with that NTSB technology showing an aircraft's position and have it on at all times. The helicopter that crashed into Flight 5342 did not have that turned on. Now, in 2023, the FAA said NTSB out was adequate enough for aviation safety, but this week, the agency shifted their stance.
The night of the January 29th collision, the transponder was on, but it wasn't working. And then what they've discovered since then is transponders haven't been working in lots of aircraft. I keep thinking that we're going to find this one thing that happened, that if we prevent this, it will never happen again. But unfortunately, it's really dozens of things that came together on that night that allowed that crash to occur.
The NTSB has still not released an official cause of that crash. That will come out in the final report, which is not expected to be released until next year. So to come on Factfinder investigates, a man found guilty in connection to a romance scam with a woman from Wichita. Plus,
we're only willing to pay about $500 of the total bill. So that's when the major problems started.
It's a really weird kind of Wild Wild West kind of arena because it's not technically insurance, it's not heavily regulated, and it's a David and Goliath scenario.
hear from a homeowner on the hook for thousands of dollars to fix his air conditioner as an ongoing fight underway with his home warranty company.